What if Rimuru, we are pirates, One Piece X tensura. BY, KyleBayan. Wealth, fame, power. Gol D. Roger, the king of the pirates, obtained this and everything else the world had to offer, and his dying words drove countless souls to the sea, marking the beginning of the great pirate era. Join Monkey D. Luffy, a boy who ate the gum fruit, and his twin sister Monkey D. Rimuru, a girl who ate the slime fruit, on their adventure across the sea to search for the One Piece. Chapter 25, Farewell and Surprise Reunion. After the crew gained a new companion, Eyelash, they continued on their journey to Yuba. The next day, after hours of traveling, the crew decided to stop for lunch. Unknown to them, they were being observed from a distance. Usopp complained, "This is all the lunch we get? Come on." Luffy yelled, "Seconds! Seconds!" Luffy and Usopp began protesting for more food, so Sanji kicked the two in the face. Sanji said, "Don't be greedy. You both have enough for one meal." Luffy ignored Sanji and snatched Zoro's meat. Zoro shouted, "Hey!" The four started to bicker amongst themselves. Vivi asked, "Why do they always behave like this whenever we eat?" Nami replied, "Don't make eye contact." Rimuru added, "Just keep eating and make sure you keep an eye on your food." Vivi and Nami looked at Ace as he was cleaning his utensils and plate. Vivi noted, "Ace is so calm and orderly. He cleans his fork and plate after each meal." Nami joked, "Makes me think there's hope for his gender after all." Rimuru smiled, "That's a bit harsh, you know. Ace was a serious troublemaker along with Luffy and Sabo when we were kids. I had to help bail them out from time to time. Those were fun times." Nami asked, "Who's Sabo?" Rimuru paused, "Oh, he was someone very close to us." Vivi asked, "Where is he now?" Rimuru whispered, "He is somewhere else right now." Rimuru stared off into the horizon, reminiscing about her childhood with a somber look on her face. Nami and Vivi realized what happened and gently held Rimuru's shoulder. Vivi said softly, "My condolences." Rimuru smiled, "Thanks, guys." After everyone finished eating, Rimuru put out the fire with sand. Rimuru said, "It's time to get going. Nami, would you mind?" Nami nodded, "Sure." "Knock it off, you two." Nami walked over to the bickering guys and smacked them. Rimuru thought to herself, "Hey, how can Nami hurt Luffy? Could she use armament haki?" Nami ordered, "Hurry up and clean this mess, we're leaving for Yuba." Afterwards, the crew got into a scuffle with a bounty hunter named Scorpion, whom Ace mentioned to have defeated Blackbeard. However, they immediately found out it was all a lie to lure him in. As Ace and Scorpion fought, the crew discovered that Scorpion wasn't even a bounty hunter and only did it to make a point to his sons to never give up on their dreams. Ace, stretching his arms, said, "I guess it's about time for me to leave." Luffy asked, "Leaving already?" Ace replied, "Yep, since it's confirmed that Blackbeard isn't even in Alabasta, I have no reason to stick around." Rimuru asked, "You sure?" Sanji added, "Any idea on where he might be next?" Ace replied, "Scorpion did mention he heard about a man claiming to be Blackbeard on another island. Before I go, Rimuru." Rimuru looked up, "What's up?" Ace smiled, "How about one last match, just like old times?" Rimuru grinned, "Sure." The crew sat on some rocks, excitedly watching a fight between the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates and one of the captains of the Straw Hat Pirates. Ace handed Rimuru his bag, which she stored safely away. Ace got into a fighting stance while Rimuru pulled out a metal pole. Ace asked, "Luffy, wanna give us a signal?" Luffy laughed, "Shishishi, sure." "Ready?" Luffy raised his hand. "Go." The instant Luffy brought his hand down, Ace and Rimuru charged at each other. Ace coated his fist in haki and threw a fiery punch. Rimuru used observation haki at full blast, tracking Ace's moves and countering by coating her pole with armament haki. The clash caused a massive explosion. Rimuru leaped into the air and sprouted wings, hovering in place as she scanned for Ace's location. She then delivered a backward roundhouse kick to counter Ace's flaming kick. Ace backed off, turning his lower half into flames to hover in place. He created 2 flaming javelins and hurled them forward. Ace shouted, "St. Elmo's fire!" Rimuru countered, "Icicle shotgun." Rimuru launched a barrage of icicle spears. Both attacks collided, creating a massive steam explosion. Rimuru yelled, "Water gun!" Ace countered, "Fire gun!" The two flew all over the place, launching fire and water bullets while causing massive destruction below. Meanwhile, the crew watched the battle in absolute awe. Luffy cheered, "Awesome!" Nami panicked, "What are those two doing? Are they trying to destroy this place?" Usopp hid, "Protect me, Zoro." Zoro replied flatly, "Protect yourself." Back in the fight, both pirates were still locked in aerial combat. Ace rushed toward Rimuru. Ace roared, "Fire fist!" Rimuru countered, "Water blast!" The two launched their powerful attacks, causing another blinding steam explosion. Ace moved as fast as he could and managed to deliver a punch to Rimuru's gut, sending her crashing into a rock and kicking up a massive cloud of sand and dust. Ace smirked, "Gotcha!" Whoa! Suddenly, Ace's hand started pulling him straight down. He glanced at his wrist and saw it was covered in a slime trail. He looked back at the dust cloud and saw a volley of snowballs flying towards him. Ace blinked, "Snowballs!" Confused by the attack, Ace felt a sudden pain as the snowballs struck him. He realized in shock that she had coated the snowballs in haki. Ace exploded into flames, burning away the slime on his hand, and landed safely on the ground. As the smoke enveloping Rimuru cleared, both of them were smiling. Ace said, "Looks like you've picked up a few tricks." Rimuru replied, "Right back at YA." Ace crossed his fingers to form a sign. "This time, I'm gonna beat you." Frost fire. Ace blasted a beam of intense fire straight towards Rimuru. Rimuru held her pole with her right hand and transformed her left hand into slime. Rimuru smirked, "You wish." Rimuru rushed forward, using her slime hand as a shield to completely devour Ace's flames. She swung her pole, but Ace dodged it and attempted to counter by sweeping her legs. Rimuru leaped over Ace's leg, but he quickly followed up with a flip kick. The strike connected, sending Rimuru high into the air. Ace shouted, "Flame commandment, fire pillar!" A circle of flames appeared below Ace's feet before rising into a massive flaming pillar, completely enveloping Rimuru. Rimuru quickly began absorbing the flames and flew straight back down toward Ace. She swung her pole rapidly while Ace intercepted each swing with his fists. The two were now locked in intense melee combat inside a swirling pillar of fire, both taking damage. Meanwhile, the crew watched in shock as Rimuru was seemingly incinerated by her elder brother's attack. Zoro muttered, "So this is the power of a commander of the Whitebeard pirates." Usopp screamed, "He killed her!" Sanji began crying dramatically at Usopp's panicked comment. "No! Rimuru!" Nami strained her eyes, "I can't see anything through the flames. What's going on now?" Suddenly, the flame pillar blew up and both Ace and Rimuru leaped away from each other, landing gracefully. Ace panted, "Looks like you're as strong as ever." Rimuru smiled, "Why don't we finish this with one last move?" Ace agreed, "Sounds good to me." Ace coated his fist in haki and flames, while Rimuru coated her pole with haki and electricity. Ace roared, "Fire fist!" Rimuru countered, "Haze, one sword style, a thunder of heaven and earth." Just as Ace was about to throw his punch, Rimuru vanished from his sight and reappeared right in front of him. Rimuru swung the pole upwards, redirecting Ace's punch straight into the sky. As fire shot safely out of Ace's arm, Rimuru brought the pole down, whacking Ace right on the head. Ace fell flat on the ground as a large lump formed on his head. Rimuru cheered, "I win again." Ace got up and rubbed his head in pain. I really thought I would win this time. Rimuru stored the pole away and approached him, offering a hand. I noticed you've been relying on your devil fruit power more than your haki. Why don't you work on your observation haki? Ace smiled. I'll keep that in mind. Luffy immediately ran up to his siblings. That was so cool. Ace, fight me next. Rimuru handed Ace his backpack. Ace replied, sorry, Luffy, I really should get going. Luffy pouted, man. Ace reached into his bag and pulled out a piece of paper with a torn edge. He ripped the paper in half and handed a piece to both his brother and sister. Ace said, do yourselves a favor and hold on to that. Luffy asked, it's just a scrap of paper. Ace smiled warmly, that scrap of paper will reunite us someday. Rimuru asked, really? Ace nodded, of course. You don't want it. Luffy said, I'll keep it. Rimuru added, if you're sure it will reunite us again, then I'll keep it too. Luffy folded his half and stuffed it into the ribbon of his hat, while Rimuru safely stashed hers away. Ace then looked at the rest of the crew and bowed. Ace requested, he might be a bit much for you, but please take care of my brother when my sister isn't looking. Ace straightened up and looked back at his siblings. Luffy, Rimuru. The next time we meet, all three of us will be top pirates. Luffy cheered, yeah. Rimuru nodded, of course. Ace waved, CYA. Ace began walking into the sunset as everyone waved goodbye. Luffy pumped his fist, right. Let's kick Crocodile's ass. Nami snapped, we're not fighting him yet. Rimuru cheered, off to Yuba. The crew continued making their way to Yuba. The next day, while they were traveling, Luffy started acting wild and crazy, yelling, fighting, and running around even in thin air. Luffy screamed, rah! The rest of the crew was completely confused. Rimuru asked, what is he doing? Sanji wondered, how is he running on air? Usopp sighed, he must have eaten another cactus. Rimuru frowned, that doesn't really explain anything. Chopper asked, what kind of cactus did he eat? Usopp pointed at a patch of round, half-eaten cacti nearby. Those ones over there. Chopper looked at the cactus and started sweating. Oh no! The juices of that cactus have a hallucinogenic effect. Luffy stopped running and glared wildly at the crew. Which one of you is Crocodile? Rah! Gum Gum Gatling! Luffy charged at his own crew, launching his fists like a Gatling gun. Chopper and Usopp screamed in a panic. Rimuru yelled, knock it off! Rimuru coated her fist in haki and launched it forward, stretching her arm just like Luffy's. Rimuru's arm slipped right past the barrage of fists and struck Luffy straight in the face. Luffy fell face first into the sand, completely knocked out. Rimuru sighed, Sanji. Sanji nodded, on it. Sanji grabbed the feet of the unconscious Luffy, and the crew continued on their way. As the sun set, Luffy finally woke up. The crew reached a city, but it was actively being ravaged by a harsh sandstorm. After the sandstorm passed, they walked through the deserted, ruined streets. Zoro muttered, this doesn't look good. The place looks no different from Eramalu town. Luffy groaned, Rimuru, water. Rimuru replied, fine. Here. She handed Luffy a flask full of water. Sanji turned to Vivi, Vivi, I thought this place was supposed to be an oasis. Vivi sighed sadly, it looks like the oasis has been completely swallowed up by the sand. The crew kept walking until they encountered an old man digging deeply into a crater. The man noticed the group but kept focusing on his work. The man spoke up, I'm guessing you must be travelers. You must be exhausted traveling through the heat. I'm sorry, but this town is a bit dried up too, with not much relief to offer. We may not have much water, but there are plenty of inns in town. You folks are welcome to rest. Vivi stepped forward, thank you, but we came here because we thought the rebel army was in this town. The man stopped digging and glared fiercely at the crew. What business do you have with the rebel army? The man suddenly began throwing junk at them. Curse all of you! Don't tell me you want to join the rebel army. After running out of things to throw, the man went right back to digging. If you're looking for those fools, then look elsewhere. They're no longer in this town. The entire crew was shocked, realizing their long journey might have been a waste. Luffy yelled, "Wait, they're gone." Vivi gasped, "They left." The man explained, "I'm sure you noticed that the town was just hit by a sandstorm. It certainly wasn't the first." Rimuru asked, "Really? Then how many sandstorms has it been?" The man answered, "Hard to say. Other than 3 years with no rain, the sandstorms have become a regular occurrence. I'd say once every 3 days or so. Little by little, the oasis has been swallowed by the desert. With the flow of supplies to the town ended, the rebel army couldn't maintain the struggle. So they packed up and moved to Kateria." Rimuru blinked. "What?" Vivi panicked. "Kateria." Luffy asked, "Where's that? Is it close by, Vivi?" The man suddenly stopped digging upon hearing Vivi's name. Vivi answered, "It's near Nanahara, back the way we came from." Eyelash the camel made a series of noises. Chopper translated, Eyelash says he remembers carrying rebel army supplies to Kateria before he was chased by the Sandora dragon. Usopp, Sanji, and Luffy grew furious and started playfully beating up Eyelash. Usopp yelled, "Why you dumb camel? Why didn't you say something, you jerk?" Sanji shouted, "I'm gonna turn you into hamburgers." Luffy roared, "I'm gonna kick your ass, camel." Eyelash just grunted indifferently. Chopper translated, he says, "Whatever." The three got even more annoyed and gave him another quick thrashing before stopping to catch their breath. Rimuru intervened, "Okay, leave the poor guy alone. It's not like we asked him if he knew about the rebel army." Zoro rubbed the back of his head in frustration. Coming all the way out here was just a waste of time. The man who was digging slowly approached the crew. "Is your name truly Vivi?" Everyone flinched, remembering the old man was still there. Luffy panicked and stood protectively in front of Vivi. "Luffy lied terribly, now hold on. Vivi is definitely not a princess." Rimuru punched Luffy in the back of the head. "Shut up, you idiot." The man walked closer and gently held Vivi's shoulders. "Princess Vivi, is that really you? You're alive, thank goodness." Rimuru asked, "Who are you?" The man bowed, "Oh, I apologize for the late introduction. My name is Toto." Vivi's eyes widened in surprise. "You're Mr. Toto?" Toto cried, "That's right, it's me. Vivi, please listen. I have faith in you and the king. I firmly believe that your father would never betray this country." The man fell to his knees, weeping. With tears in his eyes, Toto talked about how there were still people who believed in Vivi's father. He explained that he tried to stop the rebellion but couldn't, and that the rebel army was now planning to make one last desperate attack, ready to die for the kingdom. Toto's words shook Vivi to her core. Toto pleaded, "Princess Vivi, please stop those fools from tearing each other apart." Vivi calmed herself down and handed Toto a handkerchief. "Mr. Toto, don't worry. We will stop this. We will succeed." Toto wept, "Princess, thank you, Vivi." Elsewhere in the desert of Alabasta sat a small restaurant called the Spider's Cafe. Inside the empty cafe, an employee was quietly reading a book when suddenly a short woman with an annoyed expression and a large man carrying a bazooka walked inside. The woman complained loudly, well, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. That was an exhausting trip. My back is really killing me. This is all your fault, Mr. 4, you are so slow. If we had gotten here much sooner, my back wouldn't hurt right now. Mr. 4 spoke incredibly slowly, "Oh, I am so sorry, Miss Merry Christmas." The woman known as Miss Merry Christmas got highly annoyed by his slow speech and sat heavily at the counter. Yes. How's business today, Miss Paula? This place is empty today. Empty place, empty place. Paula chuckled. It is good to see you again, Miss. Merry Christmas, you too, Mr. 4. You both have the shop all to yourself today. I can brew some tea for you if you don't mind waiting for a few minutes. Miss Merry Christmas began hopping in her seat, slamming her hand on the counter. No, I don't want to wait for tea. I want to drink something now. Right away, got it. Paula started boiling water, completely unfazed by the woman's nagging. You seem to be in good spirits. Is work going well? Paula served the 2 Baroque Works officers their cups of tea. Miss Merry Christmas snapped, in our line of work, if you don't do your job, you die. So of course I'm doing well, you stupid woman. Paula replied smoothly, of course, how forgetful of me. As Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. 4 drank their tea, a strange singing voice echoed from outside. Miss Merry Christmas barked, what kind of noise is that? What kind of crazy song is playing? Paula looked around, a song? I'm not playing any music. Suddenly, the cafe's doors swung wide open, revealing Bon Clay, also known as Mr. 2, along with his crew. Mr. 2 bowed dramatically, hello to all, how do you do today? He struck an elaborate pose, weirding out the barkeeper. Mr. 2 approached the counter and sat down, turning to his followers. You guys can go now. Make sure to practice those dance moves like we talked about. The crew saluted, yes sir, Mr. 2. Mr. Bon Clay, sir. They then started dancing away into the desert. Mr. 2 then noticed Mr. 4 was giving Miss Merry Christmas a back massage. He scoffed, oh great, it's the fatty and the old hag. Miss Merry Christmas shot back, why don't you shut your mouth, you weirdo ballerina, swan-wearing freak of nature. Mr. 2 completely ignored her insults and chatted with the bartender instead. I heard that Mr. 1 and his partner are coming, though I never actually got the chance to meet them. I'm getting excited, ah ha ha ha. Unknown to the agents, a cloaked figure was watching the cafe from a distance. Hours went by, and Mr. 2 and Mr. 4 entertained themselves to pass the time. Miss Merry Christmas grumbled, would you quit dancing? You're giving me a headache. Mr. 2 snapped back, what's your problem, you old hag? Do you want to fight? Miss Merry Christmas challenged, do you really think you can handle me? Just when the two were getting ready to clash, the clock struck 8 o'clock, and something crashed violently through the saloon doors. Everyone spun around ready to fight, only to find that it was Mr. 2's crew. Mr. 2 was shocked to see his men were heavily blooded and injured. Mr. 2 cried, hey, what happened to you guys? Why are you lying on the ground instead of practicing? One man groaned, we were, until. He looked behind him and flinched in terror. A tall, muscular man walked right through the shattered entryway. So these men are acquaintances of yours. I found them acting suspiciously in the desert. Don't worry, I doubt they'll die. Mr. 2 looked at the man in pure fury. You must be Mr. 1. Mr. 1 stated coldly, you seem unnecessarily concerned about them. Fostering friendships will only make you weaker. Mr. 2 roared, you bastard! Miss Merry Christmas yelled, Mr. 2, wait! Mr. 2 and Mr. 1 immediately began fighting. Mr. 2 was unable to land a solid strike due to his opponent's incredible speed and iron-like reflexes, while Mr. 1 was unable to land a clean hit because of Mr. 2's extreme flexibility and unusual movements. They continued to trade blows until Mr. 2 managed to land a powerful kick, sending Mr. 1 flying straight through a wall as if it were made of butter. Mr. 1 quickly recovered, dusting himself off and glaring at Mr. 2. Mr. 1 asked, do you wish to die that badly? Before things could escalate any further, Mr. 4 pounced on Mr. 2 to hold him back, while Paula stepped in front of Mr. 1. Mr. 2 yelled, come on! Get off me, fatty! Oh. Paula said firmly, that's enough playing around, Mr. 1. Mr. 1 replied, I'm not done. Move, Miss Double Finger. I still haven't killed him yet. Paula, or rather Miss Doublefinger, smiled and removed her disguise. Mr. 2, it's time for you to calm down as well. It is 8 o'clock. All agents that should be here are here. What's more, a letter containing our next orders has arrived at the Spider's Cafe. We are to head for Rain Base, the city of dreams. In that city, we'll finally meet someone. A man we all know, whose face we've never seen. We're going to meet the boss. Everyone was left completely stunned and speechless, surprised that they were finally allowed to meet the leader of Baroque Works. Shortly after, a large, tortoise-drawn carriage pulled up outside. All the top agents climbed aboard and headed straight for Rain Base. Eventually, they reached the flashing lights of the city, heading directly toward the Grand Casino. Chapter 26, Vivi's Determination, Evil in the Shadows. After the crew met Toto, the mayor of the town, they decided to rest in one of the empty inns. Usopp sighed with relief. Great job today everybody, we did some good work. Now let's all lie down on these comfy beds, okay? We'll need our strength. Good night you guys. Usopp quickly got into bed and started snoring. Irritated by Usopp, Zoro threw a pillow at him so hard that Usopp fell right off his bed. Zoro muttered, during the whole trip you've been nothing but lazy. Usopp snapped angrily, why you, quit comparing me to the rest of you superhuman freaks. Usopp threw his pillow back at Zoro. Zoro growled, now you're annoying me. Another pillow was sent flying, but this time it was aimed at Chopper. Usopp complained, this blue-nosed guy here keeps getting special treatment from the captain. Chopper got up and clung onto Usopp's shirt angrily. You try walking around in a fur coat. The two began bickering loudly. When Vivi was about to turn in for the night, she noticed Sanji sitting nearby. Vivi said, Sanji, that's my bed. Sanji smiled supportively, I know. I just thought you might have trouble sleeping tonight with everything on your mind, Vivi. Usopp threw a pillow straight at Sanji's head. The award for biggest nuisance goes to Sanji. Chopper chuckled in the background. Sanji got up and grabbed a pillow, thoroughly annoyed. Alright, slingshot boy, I'm gonna shove a pillow so far down your throat you'll choke on it. Sanji, Usopp, and Chopper got into a wild pillow fight, which eventually dragged the others into the chaos. Nami yelled, which one of you idiots threw that? Sanji shouted, out of my way, mosshead. Zoro roared back, you wanna go, crappy cook. As a stray pillow hit Vivi right in the face, she couldn't help but smile, deeply cheered up by the crew's chaotic dynamic. After a while, everyone was panting heavily with feathers and pillows scattered everywhere. Nami sighed, it's about time we go to sleep. Everyone agreed, okay. When Vivi was about to lie down in her bed, she realized something was missing. Hey guys, where are Luffy and Rimuru? Nami looked around, they aren't here. Outside the inn, Toto continued to dig desperately in the sand while the twins watched him. Luffy asked, hey old guy, there's still no water. How can you stand to live here? Toto answered, the water will come. The Yuba oasis still has life in it yet. The dream of Yuba can't be beaten by a bunch of lousy sand. The king left this land to me, and I'll keep it alive. Rimuru and Luffy remained silent for a moment. Rimuru asked, do you want us to help? Luffy nodded, yeah, let's dig. Rimuru touched the ground and turned her hands to slime. Devour! Her slime hands began spreading out, quickly consuming the heavy sand. Luffy began digging aggressively with his hands, accidentally tossing sand right back into Toto's hole. Toto yelled, boy, quit it. You're filling my hole with sand. Luffy blinked, Toto snapped, I will never get done with you filling my holes. Luffy argued, but I'm digging holes just like you, old guy. Toto began explaining the proper way to dig to Luffy, but his words fell on deaf ears. Luffy cheered, a mystery hole. Rimuru corrected him, no Luffy, he's saying you should face the other way when you're digging. Luffy realized, oh. Luffy began digging again, this time throwing the sand far away from Toto's hole. With the issue solved, Toto and Rimuru continued digging efficiently. After a few hours, Luffy fell fast asleep inside his own hole. Rimuru jumped down and flew back out with her brother resting on her back. Rimuru said softly, "I'm taking my brother to bed." "Why don't you call it a day, Mr. Toto?" Toto stopped digging and looked at Rimuru and her sleeping brother with a smile. "I appreciate the concern, Missy, but I'll be fine." Rimuru asked, "You sure?" Toto nodded, "Yes, I am." Rimuru waved, "See you tomorrow." Rimuru carried her brother back to the inn. Toto looked at the two departing siblings with deep gratitude, thinking to himself what kind folks they were before going right back to digging. Elsewhere in Rain Base, the officer agents of Baroque Works were waiting anxiously for the arrival of their boss. Hours had passed, and Mr. Two had completely lost his patience. Mr. Two screamed, "Give me a break. How long are we going to wait around like this? At least offer some refreshments. I could be practicing my dance right now." Mr. Four laughed slowly, "Ho ho ho ho." Miss Doublefinger sighed, "Mr. Two, just sit there and wait quietly." Miss Merry Christmas barked, "Yeah, shut up you stupid man." "Stupid, stupid." Miss Doublefinger intervened, "You calm down as well, Miss Merry Christmas." A smooth voice chuckled from the shadows, "I guess it isn't too surprising that you all don't get along." The agents looked toward the source of the voice and saw Miss All Sunday walking in. Miss All Sunday smiled, "Oh well, it isn't necessary that you do anyway." Mr. One muttered, "Miss All Sunday." Miss All Sunday continued, "Thank you all for coming this far for our gathering at Rain Base, the city where gambling is the only king and every man and woman dreams of going home rich. Welcome to Rain Dinners, the largest casino in the city." Mr. One asked flatly, "Can we skip the formalities and get to the point?" Miss Merry Christmas demanded, "Yes, let's get things started already. Hurry, hurry. Start now." Miss All Sunday walked gracefully toward the main table. "I was just getting to that. But first things first, it's time to meet our boss, whose face you've never seen. I've been acting as his face and voice for quite some time now. However, there is no longer a need for such secrecy." A deep, commanding voice echoed through the room, "Finally, the time has come for Operation Utopia." The agents looked at the once empty seat at the head of the table and were completely shocked to find that their boss, Mr. Zero, also known as Crocodile, was already sitting there. Crocodile stated coldly, "This shall be the greatest and final operation that Baroque Works carries out." The officer agents were in absolute shock to learn that their boss was Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Mr. One gasped, "Crocodile." Miss All Sunday leaned calmly against the wall. "It seems you're all aware of our boss's public identity." Miss Doublefinger questioned, "Of course we are. But why is one of the 7 warlords leading a group like us?" Miss Merry Christmas yelled, "Yeah, we didn't expect to have a big shot like him for a leader." Mr. Two whined, "So you're saying we've been working for a pirate since the very first day?" Mr. One asked, "So, you are our boss?" Crocodile glared at them sharply, "Got a problem?" The agents quickly straightened up and fell completely silent. Miss Doublefinger spoke up carefully, "It's not a problem, but it is confusing. Why does one of the 7 warlords, a pirate sanctioned by the world government, need an undercover company like this one?" Crocodile replied, "I do not seek money or status. I am seeking something more. Military strength." Mr. One repeated, "Military strength." Crocodile commanded, "Allow me to explain myself." He lit a cigar and began explaining his grand goal and the final operation of the organization. After the detailed explanation, the agents received their final missions, when suddenly Mr. Three materialized in the room. Mr. Three panted, "Sorry I'm late." Mr. Two, Miss All Sunday, and Crocodile looked at Mr. Three with heavy suspicion. Miss All Sunday asked, "The entrance to this place is kept a strict secret. How did you get here?" Mr. Three blinked, "Who?" Mr. 2 mocked him. So which little hiding hole did you crawl into, Mr. 3? Mr. 2 got into a fighting stance. Now I can finally finish my mission. Crocodile interrupted. Hold on, Mr. 2. Mr. 3 explained quickly, I didn't crawl out of any hole. I merely followed you all from the meeting place at the Spider's Cafe. It wasn't that hard to hitch a ride on the back of your carriage. Boss, I've come here to beg for forgiveness and to ask to be given a second chance. Mr. 3 approached the table while locking eyes with Mr. 2. You see, Mr. 2, I knew it was only a matter of time before someone was sent to eliminate me after I failed my mission. Crocodile narrowed his eyes. What are you talking about? Mr. 3 replied, you know, to prevent the princess and her companions from escaping, remember? Crocodile smashed his glass cup in pure anger and stood up violently. You're telling me that they got away? All of them? You're saying that they're still alive? Mr. 3 flinched in terror. Crocodile growled furiously. What were you talking about on the transponder snail then? You said you dealt with them, didn't you? Mr. 3 stammered, transponder snail? I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't used a transponder snail the entire time I was at Little Garden, not even once. Crocodile roared, what? He quickly recalled his radio conversation with Sanji and realized exactly what had happened. He took a heavy drag from his cigar. This isn't good, although it explains why the Unluckies haven't returned from Little Garden. Have you at least eliminated one or two of them? Mr. 3 shook his head fearfully. No, not exactly. Crocodile glared at him with lethal intent. Mr. 3 pleaded, wait. The information I was given wasn't entirely accurate. There were 5 pirate escorts, and one of them had a very long nose. Crocodile cursed, damn it. Mr. 2 yelled, please boss, can you explain to the rest of us about all this insanity? None of this is making any sense. Crocodile began explaining the problem regarding the Straw Hat Pirates, while Miss All Sunday brought out a picture of Vivi along with sketches of Luffy, Zoro, and Rimuru in her slime form. While the agents listened closely, Mr. 2 was in absolute shock to realize that his new friends from the ocean were actually his targets. Mr. 2 cried, no way. I met all of these people at sea on my way to the cafe. Crocodile looked over, really? Mr. 2 quickly began shifting his face into each member of the crew. Are you telling me that Miss Wednesday is really a princess posing as an agent? You mean these people are the enemy? Crocodile nodded, that's right. These people have uncovered who I really am. They need to be taken care of immediately. Mr. 2 slumped onto the table in utter disbelief. Crocodile continued, Mr. 3, you are right about one thing. They've added 1 person and 1 animal to their group. Their numbers are increasing as they continue to move forward. The only thing for certain is that Princess Vivi and her companions are here in Alabaster already. Mr. 2, print photos of those people and distribute them to the billions. Mr. 2 stood up and transformed directly into Rimuru. Speaking perfectly in Rimuru's voice, he noted, when I met them, this girl had the power to transform, just like me. So it's possible that she might change her appearance. But from my knowledge, whenever she transforms, her eyes will stay as golden as the eyes of a lizard. Mr. 3 pondered, just like you? I assume she ate an ancient Zoan fruit because she transformed into a dinosaur, but transforming into other people? That's impossible unless she ate 2 devil fruits, which is highly unlikely, or she ate some kind of mythical Zoan. Mr. 2 shifted back, no, I think it was a paramecia. Crocodile thought to himself, so this one must have been the one I spoke to on the transponder snail. If her strange power has the ability to transform like what those 2 claim, then I will have to deal with her myself. There is also the Vice Admiral I have to worry about. He spoke aloud, Mr. 2, print those photos. I'll handle the rest. Mr. 3 begged, boss, I promise that I will eliminate the princess and her friends with my own hands. Crocodile suddenly reached out and grabbed Mr. 3 tightly by the throat, lifting him up. Just shut up, you damn fool. Now listen very carefully, Mr. 3. Do you know why I gave you your rank and why I made you an officer agent? In terms of raw fighting skills, even Mr. 4 has you beaten. Do you understand that? I promoted you because of your underhanded tenacity, but when it comes to completing your assignment, you have greatly disappointed me. Mr. 3 tried to pry the warlord's hand free as he suddenly began feeling intensely thirsty, his body rapidly beginning to shrivel up from Crocodile's drying powers. The other officer agents looked on in complete horror. Miss Merry Christmas gasped, "How is he doing that?" Miss Doublefinger whispered, "He's shriveling up." Crocodile let go of the dried-up Mr. 3 and pressed a hidden button on his desk, opening a massive trapdoor right below him. Mr. 3 fell through, looked around in terror, and noticed a giant alligator with a banana-shaped protrusion on its head resting in the water below. Mr. 3 screamed, "A banana gator!" The beast lunged forward with its massive maw open and swallowed Mr. 3 whole. Back at the meeting table, Crocodile went back to his seat and slammed his hand heavily on the pictures of the straw hats, causing everyone to flinch. Crocodile ordered, "Listen up, take a good look at these 6. They are determined to stop the rebellion. So if we leave them alone, they are bound to come directly to us." Mr. 2 asked carefully, "I understand that, boss, but even if this girl is the princess, do you really think she can stop the rebellion at this point?" Crocodile smirked. Apparently, she and the rebel army's leader were childhood friends. If she meets up with them, she's bound to cause confusion. But I haven't heard any negative updates from the billions I've sent to infiltrate the armies, which is good. We must do everything we can to prevent her from interfering before the operation is complete and we have won. Crocodile glanced at Miss All Sunday, who understood the signal perfectly and left the room. There is a vice admiral on the island, so be cautious and do your jobs. Do not disappoint me. Miss Doublefinger bowed. Leave it to us, boss. Mr. 2 cheered, and we're off. The agents left the room, leaving Crocodile alone to plan his final ambush. The next day, the crew was preparing to leave Yuba and gathered to bid Toto farewell. Toto bowed. "I'm sorry that I didn't have much to offer you, Princess Vivi." Vivi replied warmly, "No, please don't worry about it. We should probably get going." Toto turned to the siblings, "Luffy, Rimuru, this isn't much, but take this with you." He handed Luffy a small flask of water. Luffy gasped, "Whoa, water!" Usopp cheered, "Water!" Rimuru asked softly, "Are you sure?" Toto nodded, "Yes. After you both left last night, I started digging in your brother's hole and found a moist layer of sand. And thanks to you clearing away most of the heavy sand, it was much easier to dig without causing a cave-in." He then looked directly at Luffy. "That right there is genuine Yuba water, and it's the only one I could make at the moment." Luffy smiled seriously, "Right. I'll drink it with care." The crew then left Yuba and began their long trek toward Kateria. On their way, Usopp noticed that Luffy had suddenly sat down next to a withered tree, refusing to move. Usopp yelled, "Hey Luffy, what are you doing over there?" Luffy remained silent. Vivi asked worriedly, "Is everything all right?" Luffy stated flatly, "I quit." The entire group stopped, completely confused. Usopp groaned, "Oh, come on. We don't have time to put up with every little mood you have now, Luffy. Let's go." Chopper added, "Yeah, shouldn't we keep moving?" Sanji said, "We should. If we don't go back the way we came, then 1,000,000 people will be killed. We're doing this for Vivi." Sanji walked over to Luffy and grabbed his shirt to pull him up. "Let's go." Rimuru intervened, "Hold on a second, Sanji." Sanji let go. "Okay." Rimuru looked straight into Vivi's eyes with a completely serious expression. "Vivi, what exactly is your plan? I know I already asked this before, but I want everyone to hear it clearly." Vivi answered, "My plan is to talk to the rebellion and stop the war by telling them the absolute truth, that this is all Crocodile's doing." Rimuru countered, "And have you made a plan B?" Vivi stammered, "No. I didn't think I needed one because I don't want anyone to die." Rimuru sighed, "I see." Rimuru walked over to Luffy and sat down right next to him. If that's your plan, then I'm siding with Luffy on this. Everyone was completely taken aback by Rimuru's declaration. Rimuru explained, "We're pirates, not heroes. It's not our job to stop the rebellion, it's yours, Vivi. Sure, we could go to Katoria to save lives, but that won't stop Crocodile. From what I have seen, Crocodile is incredibly cautious. He somehow planted the dance powder you told us about, and he likely has agents infiltrating both sides of the army to keep the war going no matter what you say." Vivi's eyes widened in horror, not having realized the deadly possibility. Rimuru added, "What's more, since you are their primary target, going straight to Katoria would likely get you killed before you even speak." Luffy spoke up, "I don't really get everything that's going on, but you want to solve this without anyone dying. None of the citizens, and none of us either, right? We're up against one of the 7 warlords of the sea and 1 million of your people, and you still want everyone to be perfectly safe? You will never win that way." Vivi began trembling in pure frustration and rage. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with not wanting to see people die or get hurt? Rimuru said softly, "Nothing. However, you currently don't have the power to prevent it." Vivi got so frustrated she swung her hand and slapped Rimuru across the face. "Stop talking like that. I won't listen. Say that again and I'll hurt you. That's the whole point of what we're doing here, do either of you understand? No one wanted this. The Royal Army and the Rebel Army are not to blame here, everything is Crocodile's fault." Luffy got angry and punched Vivi right back, sending her sliding into the sand. "So you're saying it's only alright for you to die?" Usopp screamed, "Luffy, that's way too far." Sanji roared, "Damn it, Luffy." Rimuru glared fiercely at the rest of the crew, her eyes flashing. "Shut up." The crew flinched at her tone and immediately fell completely silent. Rimuru looked down at Vivi. "We've been in this country for a few days, and even Luffy can tell what this country actually needs right now." Luffy demanded, "Do you think putting your own single life on the line is enough to stop this from happening?" Vivi cried out, "Then what else should I put on the line?" Vivi tried to strike at Rimuru and Luffy again in her desperation, but the twins quickly grabbed her hands, stopping her gently. Vivi fell to her knees in the sand, completely overwhelmed and sobbing. "I don't have anything else." Luffy smiled fiercely, "Then at least try to put all of our lives on the line together. We're friends, aren't we?" Vivi wept openly at the profound thought of her friends risking everything for her kingdom. Rimuru pulled Vivi into a warm, protective embrace to comfort her. Rimuru whispered, "I know you don't like it, but we can tell. Out of everyone here, you want to defeat Crocodile the most." After resting her head on Rimuru's shoulder for a moment, Vivi looked up, her eyes full of newfound determination. "Rimuru, I'm sorry. I should have taken your advice and thought of a backup plan." "Rimuru, do you have a plan?" Rimuru smiled. "Given how Crocodile operates, if we were to just stop the war, he would just lay low and come up with another scheme to start it up again later. Which leaves us with only one real option to make sure the kingdom is permanently safe." Luffy cracked his knuckles loudly. "We kick Crocodile's ass." Rimuru nodded, "Exactly. By taking the boss of Baroque Works down first, we can easily dismantle the rest of his organization without the risk of them ever coming back." Nami admitted, "That actually does make sense." Zoro smiled, "And we can quit wandering around this endless desert, too." Luffy asked, "Vivi, where can we find Crocodile?" Rimuru pulled a map out from her storage, and Vivi pointed directly at a heavily marked location. "This is where Crocodile is. At Rain Base." Usopp asked, "Rain Base?" Vivi explained, "It's a city located directly north from here. It should be about a day's journey to get there." Luffy cheered, "Right. Let's go to Rain Base." With a clear, singular goal settled, the crew turned around and began their trek toward the new location to fight the warlord. Along the way, the crew stopped to rest while Vivi began telling them more about the layout of Rain Base. When Nami heard it was a massive city dedicated to gambling, Zoro and Rimuru immediately shot down any ideas of her running off to the casinos. As they walked, Usopp and Luffy began bickering over the small water flask again. Luffy yelled, "Gum gum, no way!" Luffy stretched his arms high into the air to keep his Yuba water far out of Usopp's reach. Usopp begged, "Come on, give me some." Luffy snapped, "Gum gum, leave me alone." Usopp pleaded, "Come on, Luffy. Just give me one single sip of it, please. Isn't that why the old man gave it to us?" Luffy replied seriously, "The old guy from the sandstorm place gave it to me and Rimuru. He spent all night digging just to get this exact amount. We can't just drink it like regular water, so no way." Nami smiled in surprise. Wow, I guess Luffy actually can restrain himself when it matters. Luffy pouted, "Yeah, of course I can, Nami. That was a rude thing to say." Usopp groaned, collapsing slightly, I can't walk anymore, too thirsty." Rimuru sighed and pulled a completely fresh, refilled flask from her storage. "Here you go, Usopp." Usopp cheered, "Thank you." Usopp eagerly drank almost half the flask, which immediately caused a playful three-way fight between him, Sanji, and Chopper over wasting rations. Vivi walked up beside the twins, Luffy, Rimuru. Rimuru asked, "Him?" Luffy turned, "What?" Vivi smiled softly, "Thanks a lot. I would have never been able to make this massive decision on my own." Luffy grinned, "Okay, then give me food. After we beat up Crocodile, give me a massive feast. I want to eat until I explode." Vivi laughed, "I promise I will." Rimuru called out, "All right, it's time for us to keep moving." Everyone got up and began walking briskly toward Rain Base. Just as the crew was setting off, Rimuru noticed Zoro confidently walking in the exact opposite direction. Rimuru face-palmed. "North is this way, Zoro. Hurry up or we are leaving you behind." Zoro grumbled, spinning around, I'm coming. Zoro quickly caught up with the rest of the group, and the crew continued their march to defeat Crocodile. Chapter 27, Storming Rain Base, Rimuru vs. Hinata. In Alabasta, the capital city of Alabasta, a tense meeting was being held in the throne room of the castle. One of the royal advisors spoke up, "Sire, it's only a matter of time before the rebel army attacks Alabasta. We must take action before it's too late." The king of Alabasta, Cobra Nefertari, stood up, visibly angry at the suggestion of his men. "For the last time, Chokka, we will not attack them." Cobra sat back down on his throne. "This isn't a quarrel. If we strike first, they will only strike back." Chokka stepped forward to continue his plea. "Sire, we are barely clinging to power right now as it is." "That does not matter," Cobra replied. "I don't care about my rule at the moment. Ever since the dance powder incident, it has been completely clear that someone is trying to tear apart our country. Are you suggesting we attack our own citizens before we can determine who is truly behind this? Because that would be the true destruction of our kingdom. A country is its people." Chokka pressed on, "But sir, whoever is behind this hasn't shown themselves so far. We can't sit back and wait for this unknown force to divide us. We must act." King Cobra simply shook his head, firmly dismissing Chokka's words. After the meeting concluded, Chokka and his fellow subordinate left the throne room together. The warrior Pell sighed, "The king will not allow us to take the offensive now. We can barely keep our own men happy at this point. I really wish we had Igaram with us at a time like this." Chokka replied, "Don't bring it up, Pell." He left a note saying he departed the island for a while with Princess Vivi. "I know," Pell answered grimly. "Even as we speak, they are still out there somewhere, trying to find out who is pulling the strings." Suddenly, a frantic soldier came running toward the two leaders. "Chokka! Pell! Come quickly!" Chokka demanded, "What is it?" The soldier panted heavily, "It's Karoo. He has returned." Both Pell and Chokka gasped in unison, "Karoo is back." The two quickly made their way to the king's private chambers. As soon as they entered, they saw the brave duck drinking water rapidly to rehydrate. Pell said, "We heard that Karoo made it back." Chopper asked urgently, "Is there any word of Igaram and Princess Vivi?" King Cobra, who was in absolute shock after reading the letter Karoo had brought, slowly handed the parchment to the two warriors. "There is no mistaking it. That is Vivi's handwriting." Pell asked, "Sire, what does it say?" Cobra's voice trembled with rage. "It says that Crocodile is the one behind all of this. What's more, Vivi writes that Igaram has died." The two guards were completely stunned by the news and became instantly furious. Cobra slammed his fist down. "Damn you, Crocodile! I foolishly thought he was loyal to the world government. I never even considered he was the one behind this tragedy." After taking a few deep breaths to calm himself, Cobra turned back to the exhausted duck. "Thank you, Karoo. Vivi said that you fought valiantly. You have served your country well." Karoo let out a soft quack. Chopper noticed a heavy bandage on Karoo's wing and carefully approached him. "It looks like you've been badly hurt. Let me take a look at that." Remembering the strict vow of secrecy he made with the Straw Hat Pirates, Karoo aggressively swatted Chopper's hand away and gestured wildly for him to stay back, letting out a loud, defensive quack. Cobra intervened. "Chopper, let him be. Now that we know the enemy's true identity, we need to hold an immediate war council. Assemble the officers and prepare the soldiers to move out. Pell, fly ahead and conduct reconnaissance." Pell and Chopper bowed deeply. "Right." Cobra declared firmly, "Vivi's courage and Igaram's death won't be in vain. We will head for Rain Base tomorrow and take down Crocodile ourselves." Meanwhile, out in the vast desert, the Straw Hat crew had finally reached the outskirts of the massive oasis city. Rimuru asked, "Vivi, is that the city over there?" Vivi nodded silently. "Yes, that's it." Luffy cheered excitedly. "Yeah. It's finally time to kick Crocodile's ass." Zoro cut in practically. "So, should we operate with the assumption that Baroque Works already knows we're on the island?" Rimuru answered, "We absolutely should. And that means at least two people need to keep a constant eye on Luffy." Luffy yelled out, "We're coming for you, Crocodile!" Usopp snapped, thoroughly annoyed, "Shut up!" He punched Luffy right in the back of the head. Sanji smoothed his hair back. "Well, no matter what happens, I'll take it upon myself to protect the beautiful ladies. I'm always happy to play Prince Charming." Zoro offered a sarcastic smirk. "Smooth, real smooth." Sanji turned around, angry. "Shut up, Mosshead." Usopp and Chopper collapsed slightly onto the sand, groaning, "Need water, immediately." Rimuru looked toward the streets. "There is probably a restaurant nearby that has some." Luffy shouted, "I'm going." Usopp yelled, "Wait for me." The two completely ignored the plan and rushed straight into the city at full speed. Rimuru shouted, "Hold it, you two idiots." She immediately ran after them, leaving the rest of the crew behind on their own. Somewhere inside a tavern called the Sand Cafe, Smoker and Tashigi were having a quiet conversation with a mysterious woman. She had short black hair, piercing violet eyes, a white coat draped over her shoulders, and a sleek rapier resting at her side. As Smoker finished conveying everything he knew, the woman calmly took a slow sip from her tea. Smoker concluded, "That's about everything I've gathered. Of course, it's all just a hunch on my part, but what do you think, Vice Admiral Sakaguchi?" The woman, Hinata Sakaguchi, placed her teacup down gently and began to contemplate the situation. "I believe your hunch is worth looking into, at least. Crocodile is known to be incredibly cunning, so we should definitely keep a close eye on his movements." As they were deeply immersed in their quiet conversation, the tavern doors burst open. Luffy and Usopp barged into the building, shouting at the top of their lungs, though the three high-ranking Marines paid them no attention at first. Luffy cheered, "Yeah! We can finally get some water!" Usopp echoed, "Water!" Hinata took another slow sip of her tea. But your pursuit of these pirates is extremely reckless, Smoker. Abandoning your post without informing headquarters is something I simply cannot overlook. Smoker replied bluntly, I'll accept any punishment you see fit, as long as I can arrest Straw Hat and question Rimuru on what exactly made her decide to become a pirate. Tashigi added, yes, having someone as highly capable as her turning to a life of piracy is very concerning to us. Right next to Smoker, the two oblivious pirates climbed onto the bar stools and began slamming their hands heavily on the counter. Luffy demanded, hey lady, give us some water. Usopp yelled, yeah, bring us a whole barrel. No, wait, we want more than that. Give us 5 entire barrels. Before the bartender could even respond, Rimuru burst into the restaurant and delivered a swift, annoyed punch to the back of both of their heads. Would you two idiots cut it out? The bartender quickly handed Usopp and Luffy 1 large barrel each, and the two immediately started drinking like wild animals. Hinata finally noticed the loud trio sitting right behind Smoker and Tashigi, but she returned her gaze to Smoker, glaring at him sharply. When this investigation is over, I order you to return to your post in Logetown immediately. Smoker muttered, sorry, but I'll have to disobey that command. I won't stop until I capture that pirate crew. Hinata looked at him, letting out a soft sigh. If it means you will finally go back to protecting the citizens of Logetown, then I will help you arrest them myself. Smoker nodded slightly, I appreciate it. The barmaid returned to the counter with 3 more fresh barrels, and Rimuru quickly paid for all of them. Hinata finished her tea, placed her money on the counter, and turned to the local Marines. So, what do these targets actually look like? Smoker gestured, Tashigi, show her. Tashigi responded quickly, right away. She pulled out Luffy's official wanted poster. Hinata looked down at the paper, slightly surprised by the incredibly large bounty. She glanced up at Luffy, then back down at the poster, comparing the features. She also noticed Usopp sitting right next to him, glancing back at the poster to see the distinct silhouette of Usopp's head in the background of the photo. Hinata thought to herself, is that long-nosed guy part of the crew too? Tashigi continued her explanation, that boy there is what Rimuru's brother looks like. And as for Rimuru herself, she is easily distinguishable by her long, silvery blue hair and sharp golden eyes. Hinata calmly turned her gaze directly toward Rimuru, then pointed her finger straight at the trio. So, you are telling me that those 3 right there are the Straw Hat Pirates? Smoker blinked, what? Tashigi gasped, what? The 2 local Marines looked over to their right and realized the 3 wanted pirates were literally sitting right next to them at the counter. Rimuru, Luffy, and Usopp suddenly felt multiple heavy gazes locking onto them. They slowly turned their heads to the left, locking eyes with the 3 powerful Marines. An incredibly tense, awkward silence filled the room for a few seconds. Then, completely losing their minds in shock, Luffy and Usopp instantly spat their water directly into the Marines' faces. Luffy screamed, run away! Usopp panicked, protect the water barrels. Rimuru quickly used her powers to store the 3 massive water barrels safely away in her subspace storage, grabbed both Luffy and Usopp, and bolted out the front door. Hinata wiped the water off her face, thoroughly annoyed. We're going after them right now. Smoker ordered, Tashigi, go round up the rest of the men. Tashigi saluted frantically, yes, right away. Rimuru, Luffy, and Usopp sprinted through the busy streets of Rain Base as fast as their legs could carry them. Luffy yelled, what are the Marines even doing here? Rimuru snapped angrily, this is entirely your fault, Luffy. Luffy argued, how is it my fault? Rimuru countered, if you hadn't spent the last hour shouting at the top of your lungs about kicking Crocodile's ass, the Marines wouldn't have known exactly where to set up an ambush. Luffy looked down, sorry. Usopp barked, you don't sound sorry at all. Luffy pouted, that's why I'm saying it now. Elsewhere in the city, the rest of the crew was waiting patiently near a grove of palm trees, expecting Rimuru to return shortly with the boys. Chopper announced, I'm going to go find a bathroom. He left the group to walk down a nearby alleyway. Sanji smoked a cigarette, pacing around. I know Rimuru is strong enough to keep those two from causing real trouble, but I'm suddenly getting a really bad feeling about this. Nami waved her hand dismissively. Don't worry so much, Sanji. I'm sure she has everything perfectly under control. Zoro scoffed. If you ask me, those two idiots have definitely already caused a massive scene for her to clean up. Right on cue, Rimuru, Usopp, and Luffy came sprinting around the corner at breakneck speed, closely followed by a massive, shouting horde of armed marines. Sanji's eyes widened. Well, it looks like the marines are here. Nami screamed in absolute terror. What? Why are they running directly toward us? Zoro drew his swords. Let's move, now. Vivi panicked, but Chopper hasn't made his way back to the group yet. Zoro replied as he started running, he'll be fine. Chopper can manage to hide on his own. The entire crew began sprinting through the labyrinth of city streets, trying to lose their pursuers. Rimuru called out, this is bad. That woman leading them is a vice admiral. Everyone except Luffy gasped in horror, a vice admiral. Rimuru added, what's worse, her name is Hinata Sakaguchi. Vivi's face went pale. You have got to be kidding me. Usopp asked while running for his life, who is that? Vivi explained quickly, Vice Admiral Sakaguchi is rumored to be the strongest swordswoman currently serving in the Marines. She is so incredibly skilled with a blade that it took her only a few months to rise all the way to the rank of Vice Admiral. Nami questioned, wouldn't someone that powerful make it impossible for Crocodile to continue his plans here? Vivi answered, probably, but it's highly likely Crocodile has already thought of a way to distract or manipulate her. We can't take any chances. Rimuru decided, in any case, we have to completely lose her before we can even attempt to take down Crocodile. The crew pushed themselves to run even faster, wanting absolutely nothing to do with Hinata's lethal blades. Usopp whimpered, this is terrible. Baroque Works agents are going to spot us easily if we keep causing a massive scene throughout the city. As they ran, both Rimuru and Zoro noticed sharp, calculating gazes locking onto them from various civilians and figures hiding in the shadows. Rimuru muttered, it's already too late for that, Usopp. They've definitely spotted us. Zoro agreed, yeah, we are being watched by more than just Marines. Luffy shouted ahead, Vivi, where exactly is Crocodile's hideout? Vivi pointed toward the center of the city. Do you see that massive building with the giant golden alligator resting on the roof? That's Rain Dinners. It's the Grand Casino that Crocodile runs. Rimuru commanded, we need to split up right now. It will make it much easier to confuse and shake the Marines. Luffy cheered, right. We'll see you guys later. The crew split up instantly at the next intersection. Vivi and Zoro veered down the left street, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji darted down the right alley, while the twins leaped directly up onto the rooftops to take the high ground. Once on the roofs, Rimuru and Luffy split up as well. Behind them, Hinata and Smoker outpaced the rest of the Marine soldiers, keeping a tight lock on their targets. Smoker observed, they are splitting up into groups. Hinata ordered, Smoker, you and I will go after the twins. Everyone else, fan out and capture the rest of the pirates. The Marines saluted, yes. The soldiers scattered into the alleys while Smoker and Hinata tracked the twins across the rooftops. Luffy turned around and mocked, hey, Smokey. He stuck his tongue out playfully, instantly irritating the Marine captain. Rimuru shouted from a parallel rooftop, hey, over here. Hinata squinted her eyes and saw Rimuru launch a small object directly toward her. When she raised her rapier to deflect it, the projectile splattered heavily against the blade and hit her squarely in the face. Hinata stopped in her tracks, wiping the cold substance from her cheek, realizing it was a compacted snowball. Hinata glared fiercely, her tone dropping to ice. You're toy with me, aren't you? With their target set, Hinata and Smoker split up. Smoker lunged after Luffy, while Hinata chased Rimuru down a separate path. Rimuru ran quickly across the stone tiles, succeeding in luring the powerful Vice Admiral away from the rest of her friends. Hinata, quickly growing tired of the tedious chase, effortlessly unsheathed her rapier. She coated her heavy scabbard in advanced armament haki and hurled it like a spear directly at Rimuru. The heavy sheath flew through the air with incredible speed, striking Rimuru squarely in the back of the head. Rimuru stumbled and crouched down, clutching her head in intense pain. Oh. That really hurt. Hinata landed gracefully a few feet away, coating her pristine blade in a dark layer of armament haki as she approached. Tempest Monkey D. Rimuru. I heard from Smoker that you chose a life of piracy. I don't really care to know your reasons, but you have also abducted Princess Vivi Nefertari. For that crime, you and your brother are officially under arrest. Recovering from the blow, Rimuru stood up straight and faced the Marine commander. Hold on a second. We didn't abduct Vivi. She's our friend. Hinata narrowed her eyes coldly, pointing the tip of her rapier directly at Rimuru's throat. I have absolutely no interest in the lies of a pirate. Without another word, Hinata charged forward, executing a lightning-fast thrust aimed directly at Rimuru's shoulder to disable her. Rimuru barely managed to tilt her body out of the way, the blade missing her by a fraction of an inch. Rimuru leaped backward, activating both her armament haki and her observation haki to their absolute limits while drawing her own sword. She performed a clean backflip mid-air and landed firmly on her feet. Hinata rushed her again, unleashing a vicious two-strike combination. Rimuru parried the first strike with a loud metallic clash and ducked quickly under the second swinging blade. Seizing an opening, Rimuru attempted to counter with a heavy, haki-coated kick, but Hinata brought her leg up to block it. Sparks flew wildly from the impact of their haki. Rimuru jumped back to reset her stance, then charged forward aggressively. She coated her blade with crackling electricity, unleashing a relentless flurry of high-speed attacks. Hinata remained completely calm, effortlessly blocking and parrying every single strike that came her way. Rimuru went for an aggressive upward slash, but Hinata simply tilted her head slightly to let the blade pass, simultaneously lunging forward and piercing Rimuru's arm with a swift counter thrust. Rimuru winced, quickly using her powers to create a hidden layer of thick, durable ankylosaurus scales beneath her clothes, reinforcing them with dark armament haki. Hinata then began rapidly thrusting her rapier like a blurred piston. Rimuru pushed herself to the absolute limit to parry and dodge the incoming storm of steel. Thinking fast, Rimuru briefly turned her midsection completely into liquid slime, opening physical holes in her torso and letting Hinata's blade strike nothing but empty air. Though Hinata managed to land several more precise hits, her sword could barely pierce through Rimuru's haki-reinforced scales, drawing only small drops of blood. Rimuru backed off rapidly, holding her chest while panting heavily. She thought to herself, crap! Her observation and armament haki are no joke. Her swordsmanship skills are way better than mine. I can barely keep up with her pace. Hinata lowered her blade slightly, observing her opponent. I landed several hits, yet you only take minor damage. Impressive. Perhaps I slightly underestimated your defensive skills. Hinata rushed forward once more. Rimuru raised her sword to block, but Hinata skillfully swept her blade aside to leave Rimuru completely wide open. Hinata followed up instantly with a powerful spinning kick to the chest, sending Rimuru flying right off the edge of the roof. Hinata leaped down after her, maintaining her relentless advance. Rimuru blocked an incoming strike mid-air and barely managed to twist her head away from another thrust aimed directly at her face. The two swordswomen crashed heavily into the stone streets below, causing a massive explosion of dust and debris. The pure kinetic impact shattered the cobblestones, creating a small crater and flinging dust high into the air. Rimuru swung her sword horizontally through the dust cloud, but Hinata predicted the movement, jumping over the blade and flipping gracefully backward to create space. Rimuru quickly transformed entirely into a slime, rolling away like a wheel to escape a follow-up attack before reforming into her human shape. Rimuru wiped a bead of sweat from her forehead, watching Hinata calmly walk out of the dust cloud. She realized the rumors didn't do this woman justice. Her observation haki was far more advanced than her own. Hinata stated calmly, "There is nothing left for you to do. You are completely cornered." Hinata rushed forward again. The two continued to clash swords at high speeds, with Rimuru clearly fighting at a massive disadvantage. Hinata spoke over the clashing of their blades. "After I arrest you, I will capture your brother and the rest of your crew to ensure Princess Vivi's safety." Rimuru countered, struggling against the pressure. "If you would actually open your ears and listen to me, you'd know we didn't abduct her. Besides, I think it's a bit too soon for you to declare victory." Rimuru drastically changed her attack pattern, moving erratically across the pavement and attempting to land a surprise strike from an unpredictable angle. However, every single one of her attempts was cleanly blocked. The civilian crowds on the streets began screaming and scattering in all directions to avoid getting caught in the crossfire of the destructive duel. Rimuru backed off again, refusing to give Hinata a free opening. She realized Hinata was easily predicting every single one of her attacks before she even made them. Rimuru charged one more time, throwing a heavy horizontal slash. Hinata effortlessly vaulted over Rimuru's sword, delivered a sharp spinning kick to her shoulder, and sent Rimuru skidding across the dirt. Hinata instantly closed the distance, thrusting her rapier straight forward. Rimuru was barely able to redirect the lethal tip with the flat of her blade, stepping back to catch her breath. Hinata asked flatly, "Had enough yet?" Rimuru smirked slightly. "I definitely wasn't expecting to fight a vice admiral this early in the Grand Line. But if it means I can keep you completely occupied while my crew takes down Crocodile, then so be it. We promised Vivi we would take him down, and we keep our promises." Hinata looked at Rimuru with a flicker of genuine confusion. "And why exactly should I believe that a pirate would keep their word to a princess?" Rimuru replied, "Well, that's your problem to figure out. Since the bystanders have all cleared out, I can finally go all out and take you on for real." Hinata let out a soft chuckle. "I appreciate the warning, but it is entirely unnecessary." Both Rimuru and Hinata dropped into their respective battle stances, intently watching each other for the absolute tiniest opening. In a flash, the two rushed toward each other. Hinata unleashed another blinding flurry of thrusts. Rimuru countered by using her powers to pelt Hinata with massive, haki-coated snow boulders. Hinata deftly evaded the heavy snow projectiles, which smashed clean holes into the nearby stone buildings, while Rimuru closed the distance. Rimuru roared, "Water blade!" She unleashed a compressed crescent wave of water straight from her hand. Hinata intercepted the attack perfectly, swinging her rapier to unleash a powerful flying shockwave. The two attacks collided dead center, completely nullifying each other in a burst of mist. Rimuru continued the assault by rapidly slashing at Hinata, but every single strike was cleanly parried away. Elsewhere in the city, while Rimuru and Hinata were locked in combat, several Baroque Works agents had been tracking the Straw Hats from the shadows. They had split up into groups, with many chasing after Nomi's team while others tried to track Vivi. A few low-ranking agents had originally thought it would be a brilliant idea to ambush Rimuru once she and the Vice Admiral exhausted themselves. However, after witnessing the sheer, terraforming destruction of their battle, the agents were rapidly having second thoughts. The first agent trembled, "Hey, are you guys absolutely sure this is a good idea?" The second agent shivered, "How should I know? Look at what they're doing to the street." The third agent muttered, "We better report this and ask the boss for instructions." One of the men pulled a den mushi from his coat. After a few moments, the line clicked open. A smooth voice answered, "This is Miss All Sunday. Why are you calling?" The first agent stammered nervously, "We found the blue-haired girl. She is currently locked in a massive battle against a Marine Vice Admiral. What are our orders?" There was a long, heavy silence over the transponder snail, making the hidden agents incredibly nervous. Miss All Sunday finally responded, "The boss said to capture both of them alive. We will dispatch Sea Prism stone nets to your location immediately. Wait for further orders." The agents nodded frantically, "Yes." Back at the battlefield, Rimuru thrust her empty hand forward. Water Blast, saltwater version. She unleashed a torrential stream of pressurized seawater directly at her opponent. Hinata ducked swiftly under the high-pressure blast and sprinted forward. However, she was forced to leap backward as a massive pillar of dense slime suddenly erupted from the sand beneath her feet. More pillars of slime began bursting from the street, forcing Hinata to continuously reposition. Hinata thought to herself, this is getting incredibly annoying. As Hinata narrowly avoided the final slime pillar, the liquid suddenly shifted shape, morphing instantly into Rimuru, who threw a heavy, haki-coated punch. Despite predicting the attack with her observation haki, Hinata was moving too fast to completely dodge. She quickly coated her forearm in dark haki to block the blow, the sheer force sending her crashing heavily into a nearby stone wall. Rimuru stood in the center of the street, panting heavily from sheer exhaustion. Hinata slowly stood up from the debris, calmly brushing the dust and sand from her white coat. Hinata noted, that was an incredibly impressive trick. You are remarkably strong, much like your grandfather, Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp. Hinata hyper-focused her observation haki onto Rimuru's movements and dropped into a flawless, low battle stance. It is about time I finish this fight. Rimuru adjusted her grip on her sword. If you know my grandpa, then you should know this was never going to be easy. Rimuru took her own final stance, coating her entire body and her sword in a dense layer of armament haki while focusing her mind entirely on Hinata. The two powerful swordswomen rushed toward each other with the clear intention of ending the duel in a single clash. Hinata struck, Melt Slash. Rimuru countered, one sword style, Lightning Strike. Their blades collided dead center with a deafening metallic roar. Black lightning and sharp sparks of haki erupted from their weapons, flying in all directions and cracking the pavement beneath them. Both women pushed with every ounce of their remaining strength, desperate to overpower the other. Suddenly, a massive weighted net flew out from the shadows completely unannounced, catching both of them entirely by surprise. As the heavy netting ensnared both swordswomen, Hinata began to struggle fiercely to cut herself free, but Rimuru instantly felt her energy completely vanish. The grip on her sword loosened, and she fell to her knees. Hinata gasped, "What is going on?" "My strength." Rimuru whispered weakly, "It's a sea prism stone net." As Hinata continued to struggle against the debilitating material, a large group of grinning Baroque Works agents stepped out from the surrounding alleyways. The first agent laughed, "Wow, who knew these special nets were actually this effective against high-level devil fruit users?" The second agent chuckled, "I know, right? If we had these weapons earlier, we would have caught much bigger bounties by now." The first agent walked closer, looking down at them. "These two sure are a couple of beauties." Hinata glared at the grinning man with absolute, lethal intent, while Rimuru barely had the remaining strength to even look up. Before the man could say anything else, a female agent stepped forward and delivered a sharp smack to the back of his head. The female agent commanded, "Stay focused, you idiot. The boss specifically wants us to bring them both back alive, so absolutely no funny business." The agent rubbed his head, grumbling, yeah, I know the drill." The remaining agent stepped forward, grabbing the heavy nets and dragging the two captured swordswomen away into the shadows, taking them directly toward Crocodile through a heavily guarded, secret route. Chapter 28, Crocodile's Trap. After encountering the Marines, the crew decided to split up. Luffy yelled, "Hey, Smokey!" Luffy stuck his tongue out, which irritated Smoker. Smoker growled, "You've got some nerve, Straw Hat." Smoker chased Luffy while Hinata went after Rimuru. Smoker shouted, "White Vine!" Smoker turned into a trail of smoke and ensnared Luffy. Luffy yelled, "Gum Gum Balloon!" Luffy quickly inflated his body, dispersing the smoke, then floated down. Smoker crashed into the ground. As soon as Luffy touched the ground, he began crawling away as fast as he could. Smoker reformed, then looked around for Luffy. Elsewhere, Sanji, Usopp, and Nami were being chased by the Marines. Sanji called out, "Usopp, you look after Nami." Usopp panicked, "Huh? Why?" Sanji replied, just do it, I'll handle the marines. Nami and Usopp ran as fast as they could, letting Sanji handle the marines. Despite leaving Sanji to handle them, Nami and Usopp were now chased by Baroque Works agents. Meanwhile, Vivi and Zoro found themselves surrounded by Baroque Works agents after splitting up. Zoro muttered, damn it. Vivi looked around, it looks like the Baroque Works millions. Zoro drew his swords, then we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Go on without me. Zoro shoved Vivi away. Vivi nodded, okay. Vivi ran from the area, trusting Zoro to handle the millions. Zoro took a battle stance and began cutting down the Baroque Works agents. Zoro mocked, is that all you got? That's pathetic. As Zoro defeated more agents, Tashigi suddenly appeared behind him. Tashigi shouted, I knew we'd meet again, Roronoa Zoro. Zoro flinched at the sound of her voice and nervously looked behind him. Tashigi snapped, I've been looking for you. What do you think you're doing cutting down civilians? That's low even for you. Zoro argued, look, I have my own reasons for doing it. Besides, I have no desire to fight you. We settled our dispute just fine in Logue Town. Zoro sheathed his swords, but Tashigi drew hers. Tashigi yelled, we did not. I haven't even landed a single blow, so I'm not done. Zoro groaned, will you put that damn face of yours away? Tashigi grew angry, what did you say? Are you insulting me? I'll make you pay. Zoro muttered, damn it. Zoro quickly turned tail and ran away. Surprised by Zoro's action, Tashigi stumbled a bit before running after him, yelling, hold it. After running around, Zoro took advantage of his poor sense of direction and successfully lost Tashigi. Zoro panted, good, I lost her? Now, to find Vivi and the others. After a few minutes of running around, Zoro somehow made it to Rain Dinners, where he saw Nami and Usopp about to be gunned down by Baroque Works. Nami and Usopp screamed, we're screwed. Zoro quickly kicked the agents away, saving Usopp and Nami. Usopp gasped, Zoro. Nami looked around, hold on. I thought Vivi was with you. Zoro replied, she was. Are you saying she's not here? Usopp suggested, not yet. Maybe she went inside already. Nami nodded, yeah, let's go in too. Before the three could go in, they heard screaming behind them. When they looked, they saw Luffy with Smoker right on his tail. Usopp yelled, Luffy. Zoro muttered, it's that Smoker guy. Luffy shouted, hey guys, let's go. We have to run inside now. Luffy ran inside the building, followed by Zoro, Usopp, and Nami. Meanwhile, inside Rain Dinners, Miss All Sunday gave a report to Crocodile. Crocodile asked, oh? Vivi and the pirates are in town paying us a visit. Miss All Sunday replied, yes, we just received word from the millions that they've arrived. What's more, they claimed that Tempest is fighting against Vice Admiral Sakaguchi and are asking what to do. Crocodile grinned, give them some sea prism stone nets to capture them both. Then tell them to bring them here. Miss All Sunday nodded, understood. As Miss All Sunday left, Crocodile began laughing darkly. I was looking for a means to get rid of that Vice Admiral and that mysterious Devil Fruit user, and it just so happened that the solution has come at just the right time. Back to Luffy and the others. After Luffy met up with his crew, they entered Rain Dinners and saw many citizens gambling in different booths. Luffy shouted, get out here, Crocodile, so I can kick your sandy ass. Everyone stopped for a moment but decided to ignore Luffy and went back to their games. Luffy yelled, Crocodile. Nami and Usopp smacked Luffy before he could continue. Nami snapped, that's not gonna make him come out here, you loud dope. Usopp added, we're dealing with this country's hero, do you want to turn all these customers against us? Luffy relented, okay, fine. So what do we do? Usopp paused, hold on, that's actually a good question. Without Vivi, we don't even know what Crocodile looks like. Nami asked, "Yeah, where is Vivi?" Nami, Usopp, and Luffy shouted together, "Vivi! Crocodile! Come out now!" Smoker yelled from behind, "I got you now, Straw Hat!" The crew looked at the entrance and saw that Smoker was already closing in. Luffy yelled, "It's Smokey!" Usopp screamed, "Run!" The crew began running inside the casino, trying to avoid Smoker. Smoker called out, "This building is in the middle of a lake, so there's nowhere left to run." They kept running in the casino, easily pushing through any security guards that tried to stop them without even realizing it. Luffy blinked, "Did I just hit something?" They kept running until they saw some workers leading them towards a large door that said VIP Lounge. The staff called out, "Thank you for coming. Please step this way. The VIP Lounge welcomes you." The crew kept going straight, skeptical of what was going on. Smoker thought to himself, "The VIP Lounge? Don't tell me these jokers are friends with Crocodile." Usopp muttered, "VIP Lounge." Zoro looked around, "Hey, don't these lounges usually have drinks?" Nami warned, "Hold on. Don't you guys think it's a trap?" Luffy cheered, "Run for it. What is a VIP anyway?" The crew ran straight inside with Smoker not that far behind them. They ran through the hall until they saw the hallway splitting with a sign. Luffy called out, "The hall splits." Usopp yelled, "Go left. Choose VIP." Luffy laughed, "Don't be crazy. We're pirates, and pirates are supposed to go left." Everyone immediately went left. After going left, everyone, including Smoker, stopped in front of a dead end and got confused. Everyone blinked. Who? Suddenly the floor opened up and everyone fell into a cage. Luffy noted, "That was a clever trap." Usopp agreed, "Yeah, no way to see that coming." Nami snapped angrily, "What are you two talking about? It was an obvious trap." Luffy, who was holding the prison bars, began to slump forward. "Weird, I feel really weak." Usopp asked, "What's the matter, are you hungry?" Smoker approached Luffy, then smacked him with his weapon. Zoro shouted, "Luffy!" Usopp shrieked in fear. Smoker then pressed his weapon on Luffy's neck. Everyone was immediately on edge, while Usopp nervously got in a fighting pose as he inched backward. Usopp stammered, "I will take you on, you smoke-filled freak. I've defeated a fishman before, but I'll wait here in the corner until you're ready to fight." Luffy groaned, "I feel so weak, it's like I fell in the sea." Nami demanded, "What have you done to Luffy?" Smoker explained, "The tip of this weapon is made from a metal called sea prism stone. It supposedly only exists in a certain sea somewhere in the world. We don't know much about it, but it has the power to weaken devil fruit users much like falling in the sea. You could say this is the sea's solid form." Zoro observed, "It affects Luffy the same as falling in the ocean." Smoker nodded, "Prison cells and handcuffs are made of the same substance to prevent criminals with devil fruit powers from escaping." Nami asked, "So, this prison cell is made of the same thing?" Smoker replied, "If it wasn't, you can bet that I'd be long gone by now, and you four will be on your way to prison until execution." Zoro held his sword, causing Usopp to scream. Usopp cried out, "Are you crazy? There's no point in fighting in a situation like this. Stop." Nami added, "Yeah, besides, what's a sword going to do against a guy made of smoke?" A dark voice cut in, "She's right. Give it up." Everyone looked at the source of the voice and saw Crocodile sitting behind his desk. Crocodile smiled darkly, "You're all going to die together anyway, so why not make an effort to get along? Just like those two over there." Crocodile pointed to a second cage. Everyone tried to see what was there. Rimuru waved, "Hey guys." Luffy, Nami, and Usopp gasped, "Rimuru." Nami yelled, "How the heck did you get caught?" Rimuru sighed, "We were fighting, then we got caught." Luffy stood back up and grabbed the bars of the cage, growling, "You bastard! Let me out here and fight me like a man." He quickly grew weak again. Usopp snapped, "Pay attention, stupid. You gotta remember not to touch the bars." Hinata looked at Rimuru, then at Luffy with observation haki, and back at Rimuru. Hinata stated with disappointment, "I honestly can't believe Smoker left his post to chase an idiot like that." Hinata looked at Rimuru with a pitying expression. "My condolences for being related to him." Rimuru muttered, "Shut up." Crocodile glanced at Hinata. "Vice Admiral Sakaguchi. I know that you and Smoker will soon die, so I'll make sure to tell Marine Headquarters that you both put up a valiant fight against the Straw Hat and his crew. Rimuru Tempest, I should congratulate you for getting this far, and I promise to dispose of you and your brother efficiently once our special guest has made her appearance." Somewhere in Rain Base, Vivi was locked in combat against many Baroque Works agents after splitting up from Zoro. Vivi kept fighting with everything she had, but she was knocked to the ground by a grunt. She tried to get up, but a gun was pointed at her. The grunt laughed, "You've got some pretty impressive moves there, princess. Of course, I can't expect anything less from a former officer, but don't you think it's time for you to accept your fate?" "Hava hava." Vivi thought to herself, "I have to get away and reach the others." The grunt reached down, "Fun time is over. The boss is waiting for you." Before the grunt could grab Vivi, bullets came raining down from the sky, killing the grunt. Everyone looked up and saw a half-man, half-falcon flying down while shooting a barrage of bullets towards Baroque Works. The falcon human swooped down and grabbed Vivi, taking her to the roof of a building. Vivi gasped, "Pell, I can't believe you're here." Pell looked at Vivi with relief and confusion. "Princess Vivi, you're alive." Before they could say more, Miss All Sunday appeared on the roof. Vivi screamed in anger, "Stop screwing with us." Vivi tried to attack Miss All Sunday, but she was immediately restrained by sprouting hands. Miss All Sunday smiled, "Do you think it's proper for a princess to use such coarse language, Miss Wednesday?" Vivi yelled, "You killed Igaram." Miss All Sunday mused, "Igaram? Ah, yes." Pell was surprised by the information and grew furious. "What? You killed him?" Miss All Sunday countered, "Why are you so angry? How is it different from how you killed our men? Don't be childish." Suddenly, hands appeared from Vivi's back, pinning her. Pell yelled, "Princess Vivi!" Miss All Sunday tossed Vivi aside. At the same time, Pell flew towards her in his hybrid form, roaring, "Damn you! Your bones shall be the sands of alabaster." Miss All Sunday crossed her arms, "Really? Tres fleur." Suddenly, 3 arms appeared on Pell's body, restraining his wings and preventing him from drawing his sword. Pell crashed onto the building's roof and reverted to his human form. Vivi cried out, "Pell!" Miss All Sunday smiled, "Oh dear. Did it look to you that I killed her?" Pell snapped, "What did you do?" Miss All Sunday replied, "Lighten up. I was only teasing." Pell asked, "You have devil fruit powers?" Miss All Sunday explained, "That's right. I ate the flower fruit. It grants me the power to make body parts bloom like flowers on any solid surface." Miss All Sunday demonstrated her powers by creating copies of her arms on her body. "So, even if you can fly, you cannot escape my power." Pell drew his sword and charged, "Who's escaping? I'm taking vengeance for the life of Igaram." Miss All Sunday stood still, "I wish I could stay to show a few more hands, but I don't have time." Size fleur. 6 hands sprouted and restrained Pell, bending his body backward. Miss All Sunday stated, "Power, speed, these things don't matter to me as my reach is limitless." And, clutch! A loud snap was heard as Pell was bent, and he collapsed to the floor. Vivi shrieked, "Pell!" Miss All Sunday sighed, "Was he really Alabaster's greatest warrior? How sad." Miss All Sunday began approaching Vivi, who was in disbelief. "Our boss is waiting to see us, and so are your friends." Later, at Rain Dinner's underground lounge, Luffy and Usopp were killing time by doing impressions inside the cage. Luffy joked, "Look, I'm Sanji, now who ate all the meat?" Usopp laughed, "Ha ha ha. Now do Zoro." Nami got irritated and punched the two to make them stop. "Get serious. How can you two screw around in a desperate situation?" Rimuru added, "There's nothing we can do about that, Nami. We're trapped here." Nami snapped, "The fact that we're trapped here is what makes this situation desperate. Why are you so relaxed?" Rimuru clarified, "I'm not exactly relaxed, Nami. I'm stuck here, just like how you guys are in your cage." Nami noticed Zoro sleeping, so she punched him awake. Zoro muttered groggily, "Morning already." Nami screamed, "It's afternoon, you moron." Rimuru laughed. Hinata sighed at the crew's antics and looked at Rimuru, who was poking around their cell. Hinata noted, "You seem to have some interesting crew members." Rimuru replied, "Don't look at me like that. Luffy's the one who found them." Hinata adjusted her posture, "I'm nearsighted. I can't help it if I can barely see anything past a certain point. Anyway, what are you doing?" Rimuru whispered, "Looking for a weak spot." Crocodile, who was eating lunch, sighed in disappointment at how some of his agents lost to the crew. Nami pointed across the room, "You better enjoy yourself while you can, Crocodile, because once Rimuru and Luffy get out, they're gonna kick your smug butt up and down the Grand Line." "Right, guys?" Luffy cheered, "Yeah, we're gonna kick your ass." Rimuru thought to herself, "Easy for you to say when you're not even doing anything." Crocodile spoke up, "You both seem to have a lot of trust from your crew. Tempest and Straw Hat. It's quite foolish. Trust is completely worthless." Suddenly, a voice echoed throughout the lounge, "Crocodile." When the crew and the two marine officers looked at the source, they saw Vivi along with Miss All Sunday. Nami, Luffy, and Usopp yelled, "Vivi!" Crocodile greeted them, "Greetings, Princess Vivi, or should I say Miss Wednesday. I compliment you on your ability to evade our assassins to get here." Vivi glared, "You have no idea what I'd do to see you dead. I wish you'd die." Vivi charged at Crocodile, ignoring Luffy's cry to free them first, while spinning her weapons. Peacock String Slasher. Vivi launched her weapon towards Crocodile. Crocodile burst into sand on impact, then reformed behind Vivi and restrained her. Crocodile whispered, "Better? As a native of this country, you should have known that I possess the power of the sand fruit. Do you wish to become a mummy?" Usopp shivered, "He's made of sand." Rimuru yelled, "Let her go." Luffy barked, "I'm warning you. Leave her alone and I'll kick your ass." Crocodile threw Vivi into a chair, and she was quickly handcuffed by Miss All Sunday. Crocodile stated, "Have a seat, Princess. I trust that you'll become comfortable there. Actually, you've got perfect timing. The party is starting right now, isn't it, Miss All Sunday?" Miss All Sunday nodded, "Yes, it's exactly noon right now. It's time for Operation Utopia." Rimuru repeated, "Operation Utopia." Crocodile began laughing darkly, "It will mean the demise of Alabasta." Vivi yelled, "Damn you! Just what is it you think you're gonna do to Alabasta?" Crocodile reasoned, "Would you like to know what kind of people I despise the most? The answer is those hypocrites who believe in the happiness of the people." Vivi countered, "So you plan to kill my father? You be dead before you get close to him." Crocodile dismissed her, "No need to shout. I don't plan on touching a hair on his head. He's not even worth killing, so instead, I shall let him taste humiliation far crueler than death." Vivi continued to glare at Crocodile in defiance. Vivi demanded, "What is this Operation Utopia? Tell me." Crocodile smiled, "Well, why not? The operation is currently underway, so I'll enlighten you of my plan to end this country." Crocodile began telling everyone his plan to use Mr. Two's clone power to imitate King Cobra and start the war, while using the rest of his agents to stoke the fires of conflict. Crocodile laughed loudly, "The kingdom will destroy itself." Rimuru, Luffy, and Hinata remained silent, growing more and more furious. Crocodile continued, "Listen closely. I wager you can hear the howls of the kingdom. They all scream the same thing, protect Alabasta, protect Alabasta." Vivi wept, "Stop it. How are you so cruel?" Crocodile mocked, "Heartbreaking, isn't it? Their love for their kingdom will be what destroys it." Luffy roared, "Get out here." Rimuru yelled, "Crocodile." Luffy tried to break free from the sea prism stone cage but grew weak. Hinata held the bars in frustration, while Rimuru glared at Crocodile. Crocodile asked, "Tell me, Princess, do you have any idea why I go through such lengths to destroy this country?" Vivi spat back, "As if I know anything that goes inside your foul mind." Crocodile chuckled, "A sharp tongue for a princess." Suddenly, a gust of sand forced Vivi onto the floor. Rimuru shouted, "Vivi!" Vivi got up and tried to run toward the door. Crocodile asked, My, what are you trying to do, Miss Wednesday?" Vivi declared, "I am going to stop you. If I can get to Alabasta before the rebel army, then there's a chance I can stop this." Crocodile laughed, "Quit fooling around. But it's a coincidence. We were just about to head for Alabasta ourselves, Miss Wednesday. If you would like to come with us, Princess, then please do, or..." Crocodile made an evil grin as he pulled out a key. "You could save them." Hinata muttered, "A key?" Luffy yelled, "Give me that key." Just as Vivi broke free from her restraints, Crocodile tossed the key into a trapdoor, where it was immediately eaten by a banana gator. Crocodile laughed, "Even if you leave now, it will take you some time before you can reach Alabasta. So what are you waiting for, Miss Wednesday? Save your kingdom, or save your friends. But if you choose the latter, it doesn't help that I accidentally dropped the key into the banana gator's den." At the mention of the gators, everyone finally noticed the giant reptiles swimming all around them. Luffy blinked, "There's an alligator growing out of that banana." Nami screamed, "In case you haven't noticed, that wasn't the only one." Usopp whimpered, "It looks like we're in an aquarium." Rimuru asked, "How did people not notice them whenever they surface to breathe?" Luffy noted, "Those are weird bananas." Usopp snapped, "You idiot. Look closer. They're weird gators, not weird bananas." Rimuru added, "It doesn't matter what they're called. One of them ate the key." Luffy yelled, "What? Vivi, go down there and make it spit it out." Vivi shook her head, "I can't. They're apex predators that sit on the top of the food chain. They're so ferocious they even prey on sea kings." Rimuru gasped, "Wait. These things eat sea kings?" Crocodile and Miss All Sunday began leaving the room. Crocodile called back, "I'm sorry, but it's time for us to leave now. Speaking of time, the room will be flooded in 1 hour, and Rain-Based Lake will soon fill this room. I hope you like gambling, Miss Wednesday, because like the people gambling upstairs, you shall do a bit of gambling yourself and roll the dice. Just like I did with this country, thanks to the rebel army and that old man digging in Yuba." Rimuru and Luffy's eyes widened. Luffy roared, "You don't mean that dried up old guy?" Rimuru snapped, "So that was your doing?" Crocodile created a small sandstorm in the palm of his hand. "Of course. Don't you think it's quite odd for a town to be hit by multiple sandstorms in quick succession, Tempest?" Vivi screamed, "I'll kill you." Just as Crocodile and Miss All Sunday left and the doors closed shut, water began gushing out of the open trapdoor and filling the room. Usopp panicked, "The room is starting to flood." As the room began to flood, Vivi was left to choose between saving her nation or saving her friends.